let's move on to some discussion with spoilers. This movie's full, like we were talking about, of the classic 80s and 90s action movie tropes. There's a lot of cool Arnold in here, a lot of fun Arnold. There's great one-liners. We have the seemingly invincible hero, and my personal favorite, the things stopping bullets that shouldn't stop bullets trope. So I don't know. I just wanted to know what was your guys' favorite scene or your favorite line or moment from the film. Doesn't necessarily have to match any of those like classic, 80s, 90s tropes, but yeah. What's your favorite stuff from this movie? Or, what are tropes you like that you wish they would come back, or some that you're glad are gone forever?
Yeah, here's my favorite overall thing from the movie. And it's not a moment. It's a moment, but it's not a scene. It's not it's when I don't remember what his name is. The guy who's on the TV all the time. He's like in charge. He's like the bad guy. Is it Ronnie Cox? I think it's Ronnie Cox, maybe.
Cohagen. Yeah.
Yes. I believe it's Cohagen. He calls Quado Mr. Quado twice. And I just think it's great that he's showing him the respect that he deserves. I just think it's very funny to be like, Mr. Quado is out there. And then you see what Quado is. And it's like, if you refer to him as Mr., it's very funny.
It's like a melted Chucky doll. And he's like, Mr. Quado deserves respect.
It definitely ruins the mystique, right? Like, because if you call like Madonna, if you call her Mrs. Madonna, there's that, it's just she's not as cool anymore.
Yeah.
Or Mrs. Shakira.
But I did not remember that. And then it happened like 2 or 3 times in the movie, and I laughed so hard each time they did it. I mean, I like the Quado stuff so much. I like when he's about to take the shirt off and he's like, don't laugh at him.
You're Quado, right?
Wrong. Quado's a mutant. So don't get upset when you see him.
Like, he's a mutant. Don't laugh at him. I just think it's great. He's very sensitive. Yeah. And I also like when Arnold is dressed up as the woman.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Good stuff.
And it has to pull the face off and everything. I think those two are the two scenes that I think of when I think of this movie. As far as tropes that I want to come back, I mean, I wish everything was practical again, because in this movie, it just like, it feels so much like he's actually there versus in the 2012 movie, which I saw in theaters and remember zero things from. But I remember it feeling just, like CGI goop the whole time.
Yeah.
And not that there's like, huge action set pieces, like, but it definitely does not have the same feel. And it's not as fun a movie. Like, I don't remember laughing during the movie. I don't remember like, you're not like fist pumping and cheering and stuff, which I feel like at points in this movie, you get excited. Like there's very, fun chase scenes and all that stuff.
Busting out of the chair and stuff.
Yeah.
It definitely toes that line of like trying to be like serious and thoughtful and thought provoking, and also just being like a fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger movie,
totally.
And it toes that line perfectly, I think.
I think it's so rare that you get action movies that can pull that off nowadays. Whereas in the 80s and even early 90s a little bit, like that was sort of the norm, where it was just like, you got an action movie, it's going to be fun too. You're going to have a good time. And I just don't think we get that a lot anymore. And I miss that and I want it back.
I agree with that. I like that. The trope I thought about was just having an evil henchman with you at all times. Cause Michael Champion just looks like evil Steve Zahn to me, just like driving around with a gun. Like maybe it's because I'm watching like White Lotus right now. But it's like, man, it's like a white haired Steve Zahn, just like from the future. And I just like, I miss guys just having like a henchman that they can yell at, like, get in the car, let's go, like all that kind of stuff. It's just such an 80s, early 90s thing to me.
We should have done a henchman Rushmore. Maybe we still could.
That would have been good. Yeah. My favorite scene, the thing actually I was like kind of blown away by, is that futuristic TSA X-ray thing. Because they implemented it pretty smoothly. Like when people coming in and out, it's like, this was pretty ahead of its time. I think, we're like right at the beginning of it, and it looks fairly flawless. Like I liked it a lot. Like obviously, it's CGI, but I mean, I don't know. I think they incorporated it nicely. I loved that a lot. I did think that same scene, Patrick, you mentioned like him dressed as the woman. that his whole plan is foiled because they didn't think to program anything else besides the word 2 weeks, like in like whatever voice box or something. Like if they had just said like, no, yes, 2 weeks, those are your 3 options, like this movie wouldn't have happened. It's like 2 weeks. Like, what did you just say? So I don't know,
man. As a programmer, I can promise you that things can easily be overlooked, that you're
That's
like,
true.
Shit.
No one's going to ask her anything besides how long she's going to be there. It's fine. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. And then just the other stuff, like you said, with all like the kind of the FaceTime calls. Obviously, I think for the time this was set, those were all pre-recorded videos. And so just watching this, I'm like, man, how many times did they just like not sync up exactly? It's like, all right, reset everyone. We got to start over. Like you got to hit play like 5 seconds faster or something. Cause I feel like that just must have been a pain in the ass. Cause it's all just like right there in the screen. They're not like imposing it later. If they are, it looked great. But so that was the other thing I thought about. Just like the fun these actors probably had just recording these scenes to talk, like just to show later in the movie. Kind of silly.
I wonder if they did it on, I mean, probably not, if they just had a second set that they were on and they just did it live.
I wondered, if it's just like a monitor or something like that, that they're just like going through. I mean, that'd be the smartest way. And I think that totally makes sense. But just, even just in addition to that, just the way that the 80s and 90s like depicted the future, like it's almost as weird as like when the 30s depicted the future, you know. It's just like everything is just so silly, and I'm sure what we're doing is going to be silly in 1,000 years if we're here, you know. We'll see. But I
was going to talk about that a little bit later, but might as well just do it now. I actually really loved the depiction of the future in this movie. I liked it was sort of this like futuristic brutalism, you know, like everything is just at least the version of Earth that we see. The version of Mars is, I don't even really remember it, to be honest. It's just very red, very saturated red. But I liked the sort of mix of like old tech and new tech in the movie. And like it's sort of, at first it seemed odd to me. Like he fills out a paper questionnaire to go get like a very advanced high-tech lobotomy. You know what I mean? Like that seems kind of silly. They probably didn't need paper and pen at that point. Or like, why in the fuck would they need a jackhammer for him to do his job? Like, there's no robots that can do this. There's no lasers or whatever. You got to have a jacked Arnold jackhammer. I don't know. That kind of stuff was kind of silly, but it got me thinking, like, it seems far-fetched that, you know, they wouldn't have high-tech solutions to these things, but there's plenty of industries and whatnot now that still use antiquated technologies. Like, you know, you still sign in with pen and paper at the dentist, or I know like hotels and airlines still use old antiquated ticketing systems. So I don't know. I guess it's not that too far-fetched. And I liked how they made it look in Total Recall. I liked the look of the subway specifically. I thought it was really cool. And I just was like, man, I want to like be able to visit this version of Earth, minus all like the mayhem that happens. I just want to be like a passerby.
Some of these felt like borrowed sets from Blade Runner. You know, let's just throw these over here. But I mean, that makes sense. I mean, we'll talk about.
I wish Blade Runner had those robot taxi drivers.
Oh man,
that would have been really cool.
That would make me like Blade Runner so much more than I do.
That'd be
awesome. Matt, what do you think here? What's going on over there?
My favorite, I gotta say, I loved at the end, like that bigger twist when, you know, Arnold shows up on the screen with the bad guy and he's like taunting himself. It reminded me of like him facing like, it was like Happy Gilmore's Bad Dream where Shooter McGavin wins everything. He's like, yeah, you big idiot. And we're going to go have a beer after this too. And I'm going to get back in your body. It's like, oh man, like I'm trying to imagine being in the audience and like taking that scene seriously. But I loved when he shoots Sharon Stone in the head and says,
consider that a divorce.
Yeah, really solid
morbid
stuff.
He told her.
yeah. Stop talking his
and
fake wife's body.
Yeah, what's Melina? And Melina's just like, all right, we're even. Fair enough. You know, she's just on board.
That's my man. Yeah,
that's my guy.
And then I couldn't help but wonder if this movie had been rated like PG. if Quato's wise words when he says you're not defined by your act, or he says something like you're not defined by your actions, or you're defined by your actions. If that doesn't, if he didn't become, the Yoda of the 90s over that, and that would be selling merchandise with wise Quado shirts,
baby Quado,
Quado the Wise. Mr.
That is
Quado.
a pretty cool t-shirt idea to just have like the graphic of Quado on the t-shirt.
I mean, now you're making me Google to see if there's a Quado action figure. I gotta look now. I have to.
Yeah.
You're defined by your actions define you.
Did you have a trope?
Good news, guys. There are Quado action figures. I just want to say that.
Oh wow, yeah,
fantastic. What about t-shirts? Quado t-shirt.
Give me 1 second.
Oh yeah. There's some good stuff on here.
Oh yeah, there's Quado t-shirts. There's a lot of them.
Quado could have been a family name.
Yeah, we need to do a 3 films t-shirt with all of us having a Quado in us.
So there is a full flesh-colored sweatshirt, complete with chest hair and a Quado. I gotta save this. That's unbelievable.
That's great.
That's not my new Halloween costume. Wow. So thankful for this podcast. I fucking hate the bullets not being stopped by things that, you know what I mean? Like when he's on the escalator and they're having the shootout and he's just using the guy as a human shield. They have machine guns like 3 feet away from him. It's like, I realize there's a lot of things that could have taken me out of this movie, but for whatever reason, that's the one. I'm like, I don't buy it.
That guy in half.
This movie's bullshit. I was believing everything else until now. I don't know. It just drives me nuts. I feel like we don't see that quite as much anymore as we used to. Anywho, all right. So we talked a lot of it about Arnold, and he seems like such a singular figure to me in movie history. Like he seems to be a guy that was just like thrust onto the big screen purely because of his physique, and like somehow, despite his like shortcomings as an actor, he became the biggest actor in the world. I mean, even still to this day, like who doesn't know who Arnold Schwarzenegger is, right? Yeah. And I mean, biggest actor, both figuratively and literally. So I just was curious what you guys think, like, why do we think that this happens? And like, who is our modern day version of Arnold, if we even have one, or do we want one?
I don't know if there is a modern day one, because like, I'm trying to think. I mean, there's obvious, like, there's The Rock, but like, I feel like he can act.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he can act, and you can, but he also falls into that pitfall of being like, I'm just an everyday guy.
Yeah.
In this movie, I'm a doctor or whatever.
Skyscraper, like I'm just a guy with one leg. No big deal.
Yeah. You're like, no, stop it. But maybe there's someone, and this is not a 1-to-1 because he's not the biggest movie star in the world, but he is someone that I feel like people like a lot and like seeing and stuff a lot. Dave Batista recently.
Yeah.
He's like great. He's a good dramatic actor. He's funny. He's good at action.
Yeah.
I like seeing him and stuff. But I don't think he will ever be the, judging by Stuber's box office, I don't think he's ever going to be the huge draw that, Arnold was. That's
another one on my long list of things I'm supposed to see. I want to see it just because I like Dave Batista and I like Kumail Nanjiani. Sure. And I know it means nothing to either of those humans, but I want to support them. You know what I mean?
You want to. Yeah, I get it.
I had fun with it. It was an airplane movie, which seemed perfect.
It feels the perfect airplane movie.
It was just like ideal. It was light. It was funny. They were both having a good time. Like, that was a great hour and a half. I'm on board.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Jungle Cruise yet? Speaking of airplane movies.
No, not yet.
I watched the first 45 minutes. It was like fairly enjoyable. It's like it's Indiana Jones. It's almost like a sneaky reboot of Indiana Jones where Indiana's woman. It's actually really fun, but I paused it and I was enjoying it. I paused it 45 minutes in and I'm like, there's still an hour and a half left of this shit. So I turned it off and I watched something else because I was like,
guys, I like to make this point anywhere I can. Most movies should not be longer than 90 minutes long.
Yeah,
Give me 90 minutes. That's all we want. That's all we need. Yep. Get out of here.
A man after my own heart.
A common talking point, I think, early on for us. Like, I think we could have lost 20 minutes of this. You know, it's like either lose 20 minutes or commit to the miniseries and give me 6 hours of this. But like, I don't need 2:15. Like, just this is too much. I wrote down, honestly, the first note in my notes while I was watching this was like, is there a huge difference between like early Arnold and Tommy Wiseau?
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
So I don't know that there is like in their acting ability, like both very stiff, but like I trying, but just not really hitting or anything like that. Obviously, like Arnold has come a long way. I think I don't think we have an Arnold. I don't know that we can, you know, even just now with people like branding themselves from such an early age, no one's going to come on the scene. I don't think like Arnold did. Yeah. The first thing I thought of, I think Dave Bautista is like perfect. I think it's a really good example of like maybe like up to Total Recall Arnold, you know, but like not quite T2. Like he's not, I don't know if he's going to like headline his own movie or whatever. My first thought was like very, very early Arnold, like Conan stuff was Rampage Jackson being like the A-team, because I feel like they were just trying to get this like big guy who I don't know how much he can act, but like let's just give him a few lines, but let's really focus on his physique. But I think, you know, just kind of like fizzled out after that. Unfortunately, I think he, you know, probably could have had some stuff. I don't know. I don't even know what he's doing now, but that was my first thought. It's just like, oh, kind of like a, you know, he was an MMA, right? I think that was his deal beforehand.
I think so.
But I don't know. It's interesting to see. John Cena to me doesn't work just because like he is so charismatic. Like the character, that's, you know, his character. It makes sense that he's like funny and great and stuff like that in movies, because like he had to be that in arenas. Yeah. So that's why I think Batista's a great example, because you just, I don't know, I had no idea what to expect from Drax at all, you know, or in like the Bond movie or in Blade Runner 2049, like, but he's good. I like it. I don't know that anyone's going to replicate his success more than like The Rock does. But I think as far as like starting out, I think Bautista and to a lesser extent Rampage Jackson probably match that.
That's when you...
Why would I put my finger on his throat?
What?
I don't know that we need any.
It's hard to say anything new here, but just to add my voice to the chorus, there's no one exactly like Arnold. I mean, he was like a fitness competitor. He wasn't even that much of an entertainer like before. Like he was just kind of like the eighth wonder of the world, just based off of his physique. Whereas like, you know, The Rock and some of these other wrestlers turned actors, you know, were entertainers first, and so they kind of have some of those chops, you know, in their DNA already. But as far as like ubiquity, like I mean, the Rock is kind of replicating that, being in, you know, 10 things every year. Similar to Arnold, I do every time I watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, like I'm blown away that like he was the guy during this period of time. Yeah, and we just like we just went along with it. Like this is what we like, you know? Yeah. And maybe like, you know, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, we'll feel the same about the movies, you know, coming out now, like with The Rock. But it's similarly, kudos to Arnold for picking up all these roles and all these, you know, movies. And I think
in 5 kids to feed, man.
In his in his choice of movies, it kind of reminds me of sort of the way Nick Cage has found his way into a lot of different things over the course of his career, and how during an era, Nick Cage was kind of in everything, not in the same way The Rock is, and doesn't bring the same draws as The Rock, but like, you know, he's playing Indiana Jones type characters here. He's playing, you know, a washed up superhero there. He's in Wicker Man, you know, all these interesting roles, but
was he in Sorcerer's Apprentice? Was that him?
Nicolas Cage?
Yeah. Or who was the main? Yeah. Him and Jay
Baruchel and Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Yes, guys, I've watched Sorcerer's Apprentice twice during lockdown.
We got you.
We'll pencil you in for that episode as well.
In there. Yes.
And Mars Needs Moms, Sorcerer's Apprentice double feature.
You are penciling yourself into our canon here. You're just chalking up episodes left and right. I think Nick Cage is actually a pretty good comparison. Obviously, I was thinking more of like just big guys the same way, like physically present that Arnold is on screen. But I think Nick Cage is a good comp because it's just a guy that, like, for whatever reason, like if he's in something bad or he's in something good, he just gets a pass. Everyone just kind of loves him. It's just, it's Nick Cage. And I think, like, for a guy like Nick Cage or Arnold Schwarzenegger, we just love them for, like, what or who they are, you know? It's just fun to watch him on screen for whatever reason. And in Arnold's case, like, you know, he's a literal giant, but he's just so lovable. It reminds me of, like, Andre the Giant, you know, speaking of giants. For whatever reason, you can look past whatever, you know, like I said earlier, shortcoming they may have as an actor, because they just have that charm and that charisma and that whatever, that magnetism that draws you to him as a viewer. So, and, you know, Nick Cage isn't a big man, but he does have that big presence. I actually really want to go see that Pig movie that just came out.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen it yet.
I hear it's great. Yeah,
I hear good stuff. And filmed here in Portland, so that's fun. Well, I think we have to do an Arnold Rushmore.
These are OR scrubs.
Oh, are they?
It's our first Arnold movie. We love Rushmore Mountains. I think we've got to do it. I think if we didn't do it, our followers and listeners would be furious.
We'd fall off, yeah.
So let's do it. Let's start with Patrick. I want to hear your 4 Arnold Rushmore entries.
So we got to start with Around the World in 80 Days.
Okay. Obviously.
No, I'm kidding. Take that off.
No, it's your first pick is Around the World.
Okay, fine. I'll stick with it. I mean, here's the thing. If we're being genuine, and I said it earlier, I love Jingle All the Way.
Man.
I love it so much. It's my favorite Christmas movie.
Nice.
I understand that it's not good. I get it. But, like, I have so much fun with it. And no shame. Zero shame. T2's the obvious one. But I also, and this is a hot take, I understand that this is a hot take, I kind of liked Terminator Dark Fate. I kind of liked it.
Okay.
I'm not a big Terminator guy, but I went to go see that. Like, I've seen them all, and I've seen all of them. Like, even, you know, the Christian Bale one, I've seen all of them. And I liked it. I don't know. I had fun with it. I understand that T2 is the better movie objectively, but I just enjoyed that other one.
Okay, you're allowed to like things, remember? We talked about this.
Thank you so much.
Good for you. Good for you.
Well, that's not your best Christian Bale.
Not the best.
But I like it.
Oh, good for you.
And another, this is truly showing off my what I am interested in movies. I think he's fun in Batman and Robin. I think he's fun.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
I was just about to swap one of my picks out for that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think he's great.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age.
He showed up for the right movie. Like, he was there, ready to go for what they were making.
For sure,
it was perfect.
He understood the assignment 100%.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that 4? I think that. Well,
I mean,
if we're counting Around the World in 80 Days,
do you want Around the World in 80 Days?
Yeah, let's put it on there.
All right, Around the World, Jingle All the Way, Dark Fate, Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously. This.
Wait. Hang on. Say that again. Around the World in 80 Days.
Jingle All the Way, Terminator Dark Fate, and Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I'm sticking with that one.
Yeah, I like it.
It helps get rid of some of the crossover I knew we'd have. So
good.
And it's a true, you know, we've gotten to know each other quite well, Patrick. I feel I know you top to bottom here. So it truly represents who I know you to be, you know.
I think you get it. At this point. Listen, I could have said Expendables 3. I didn't. But I could have.
We'll still allow it.
Yeah.
I said there was some rules, but that's not one of them. You can change your Rushmore.
All right, let me think about it.
Meantime, we'll hear Matt's Rushmore.
Oh, man. Batman and Robin was a great pick.
Yeah.
I didn't have it on mine. I wish I did. The second you said it, I'm like, oh, man. Because, yeah, really, like Schwarzenegger, for him, that was great.
That's great.
Enough said. I'm gonna, I'll start off real slow with T2.
Come with me if you want to live.
I have to put it on there, otherwise, you know, I need to keep my inbox clear.
You get canceled.
Don't want to get canceled. Kindergarten Cop, Junior.
Yep.
Guy gets pregnant. Great family movie.
Yeah.
I saw that was always on HBO when I was a kid.
I feel like I saw it on TV all the time and watched it every single time.
Yeah.
So it was a, important Arnold movie for me. And then I think the first Arnold movie I ever saw, my first exposure to Arnold, was on TV as well. And this got a lot of circulation, Conan the Destroyer. And so just from a personal standpoint, nostalgic reasons, I got to have that on my Rushmore.
I think that's great. Yeah. Also T2, it's really hard not to pick that one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with True Lies. I think he's great in that. Great. It's a really fun movie. Mm-hmm. Twins.
My name is Julius, and I'm your twin brother.
Oh, obviously. The moment I sat down, I thought I was looking into a mirror.
We are not identical twins.
Oh, no?
I think they're really just playing into, how they were really going into like the whatever of Schwarzenegger's like, oh, he's tall and he talks funny. Let's have him with DeVito. This will be cool.
Could those two humans be any more different? It's unbelievable.
I don't know.
That in and of itself was worth a movie. And if you told me that's why they made it, I would be 100% on board. And I'd ask them to make it again. I want a sequel. I want more of that.
Twins 2? What do you call Twins 2? Aren't they actually making that?
But they were going.
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy or something.
They keep. Yes.
Yeah.
They keep talking. They've been talking about it for like a decade at this point, but
who knows?
It seemed like it was happening, and then who knows?
In his filmography, his being Arnold Schwarzenegger, it says that Triplets is in pre-production.
Triplets. That's a great name.
So who knows?
I don't think it will happen. My gut says it's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know.
I sure wish it would.
It'd be funny though. I'm gonna close out with Predator. That was one that I felt like I saw too young. I was like, I felt cool that I got to see it. Like, oh, this is gnarly, and this was not made for me, but I like it. So, T2, True Lies, Twins, and Predator.
Well, there's plenty of crossover. I knew there would be. T2 begins my Rushmore list, and then Total Recall had to sneak its way on here for reasons I'll discuss here in a moment. Jingle All the Way. I'm not going to lie, Patrick. I'm happy that you're on board, but I was a little sad that I wasn't the only one. I wanted to be. I kind of wanted to defend myself a little bit. I'm also glad I don't have to.
No.
Yes, Sinbad.
Yeah, man. I own the Blu-ray.
Oh,
you don't have to.
Nice. You don't have to my family at Christmas, like a lot of families do this. We watch a couple Christmas movies as a family every year. Mm-hmm. Christmas Vacation is one that's like steadfast. It won't ever leave the rotation, but Jingle All the Way makes it on there occasionally, and I'm always happy when it does. I love that show. Good Sinbad stuff in Jingle All the Way too. He's another 80s, 90s trope I wish would come back.
Bring back Sinbad.
I did say I was watching the movie today with my roommate, and I said it would be so much better if the guy who had Quado on his stomach was Sinbad.
Oh my god, 100%.
Hilarious.
Oh man.
And it would
movie ruined.
It would make a little more sense. Sinbad's a big dude. He's got plenty of room for Quado.
Sinbad could have been Benny.
Yeah,
the cab driver.
I would.
Yeah, that's kind of a Sinbad-y role.
That would have been good. I did like Benny. Yeah. Who played Benny? Mel Johnson.
So Benny is this guy. I'll tell you this because Benny was on the George Lucas talk show this last year.
Oh, rad.
Benny is played by this guy named Mel Johnson Jr., who I believe he was on. The reason we had him on, we were talking about the David Lynch, Mark Frost sitcom On the Air.
Oh, yeah.
Which was about a radio station in the 50s. And Mel Johnson Jr. was on that show. He's just like he's like a working actor. I think he was in The Lion King on Broadway, I want to say.
Cool.
But if people like him, you should, not to plug, but seek out that interview because he's just like a cool dude. Yeah. And was like really fun to talk to.
Yeah, no, please plug. I'm gonna check that out for sure because I loved him in this. Yeah. I was like, we're in the spoilers portion of the podcast now. Genuinely so sad when he turned out to double, like his double cross bummed me out so much. I was like, no, not Benny, not my guy. Yeah. But so please first check out George Lucas Talk Show. And rounding out my Rushmore. So I said I had to sneak Total Recall on here because a lot of a lot of Schwarzenegger stuff I haven't seen in a long time. So I was like, I don't really feel good about throwing some of these on here. I don't really remember them, to be honest. So the one I remembered the most was Predator. So I'll throw it on there. I mean, it's Predator. What else do I need to say about that? It's classic. Luckily, I just watched Total Recall, so I was able to round out my list fairly
It's between
easily.
Predator and Commando for me because I love Commando. I think that one's so absurd. But yeah, I think Predator had to make it.
I would have maybe switched it out with Batman and Robin at the last minute, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't be seen to just be copying Patrick here. So the story of Total Recall was adapted from a short story by Philip K. Dick. And it seems like most sci-fi movies I watch, it seems like so it seems like it's always a Philip K. Dick adaptation. So just curious, where does Total Recall fall in the three of yours Philip K. Dick adaptation rankings? Whether it's a Rushmore or not, I don't know. If you've got enough, feel free to fill one out. But yeah, where does this one land for you guys?
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for all of the Philip K. Dick adaptations. I think it might be number one.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, here's the thing. I'm not as big a Blade Runner guy as a lot of people. A lot of people love Blade Runner. I think it's really boring. I've tried it so many times, and every time I try it, I'm like, man, I've like tried different versions. I've tried different cuts. It's just every time I'm like, oh, I wish I could do it. But I loved Blade Runner 2049.
Nice.
So like, I don't know. I don't get it.
You need to make a video like Hauser for like Patrick, who's about to watch Blade Runner again. You're like, Patrick, you've tried this. Don't do it. Like, don't watch
so
it
many
again.
Times.
It's not
This
going
is
to
like
work.
the 6th time. Yeah. I think if I'm ranking the ones I have seen, I would say Total Recall, Blade Runner 2049, Minority Report, Blade Runner, with a special dispensation for A Scanner Darkly. I saw it. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
I think that's my... Also, did you guys know there's a Blade Runner or there's a Total Recall TV show?
I did
like currently,
not know that.
or there was one.
Nope. It's called Total Recall 2070. It was on Showtime. It was a Canadian TV show. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm just 22 episodes.
Wow.
Okay.
But the Canadian to American version, that's like what, 16 episodes here in the States?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I have enough to like do 4 that I like, but that's because I haven't seen 2049. For me, this is probably in 3rd behind Blade Runner than Minority Report. I had a good time with it, like just based off what I've seen, I guess Scanner Darkly would maybe take my 4th spot. But what in like researching for this movie, what I really want is like, I guess Swayze was supposed to be the original John Quaid the first time they were going to start making it. And I want to see that because that is like, he's more of an everyman than Schwarzenegger, so that to me is more like, okay, you're not a huge like jack dude who can just beat people up. Like you're a guy. It's a little more like, there's more tension there, I guess.
Hold on,
if it is
Patrick
more of an
Swayze
everyday.
is not just a guy.
You just put your pickle on everybody's plate, college boy, and leave the hard stuff to me.
You put some respect on Bodhisattva's name.
Okay, War Child, I'm sorry. I'm just saying, like, he's like not Schwarzenegger as all of us aren't, so I'd just be kind of curious to see what they would do with him in that. But yeah, I don't know. I want to see that Total Recall, but that's probably not going to happen.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I don't know. The Wizards at Marvel might be able to whip something up.
Who knows? We got Tupac at Coachella, so maybe we'll get a Swayze Total Recall. We'll see.
No promises. No promises.
What's your exposure to Philip K. Dick, Matt?
It's limited. I mean, I guess I didn't know that he had done a Blade Runner until you posted this. And I also, I guess I'm not on the Blade Runner train either, and I wish I was. I love the people that are. So if you are, I'm sorry. Still like and subscribe to our podcast. I'm sorry I'm letting you down. And I even tried Blade Runner 2049, and I was still like, I was trying. I feel like, I don't know. Anyways, all this to say, I only have 2 on my list, and it's behind Minority Report but I also haven't seen Minority Report since it came out, and so I don't really know.
Yeah.
My answer is I don't know.
That's fair.
I'll get off now.
To be honest, the reason I posted this question is like, I haven't really, I don't really know a whole lot about Philip K. Dick. All I know is every time I see an interesting sci-fi film, it seems like it's adapted from one of his stories. So Blade Runner is an interesting one for me. I don't think I totally get it. Like, I think I like the idea of Blade Runner more than I actually like Blade Runner. I've only seen it. I think I've seen it twice. I did like 2049 a whole bunch, but I really think it's just because for both movies, it just looks cool. It just seems cool. The name is
Ryan
cool.
Gosling.
Like, cool people like it. I think I just want to be cool. I don't know what it is, but I the first time I watched Blade Runner, I was like, okay, well, I think I liked that, and then I watched it again at some point, and I did like it, but I don't think I understand why, really. So I think I kind of fall in the middle of the experiences here on the podcast today. But yeah, I think Blade Runner and Minority Report might be better movies than Total Recall, but I really like this concept the story was built off of more than I like those other concepts with the memory implants. So, I don't know enough about Philip K. Dick to fill out a Rushmore, but this is right up there, like you guys said, with Blade Runner, Minority Report for me. Is there anything else? Oh, I was gonna say, if there's anything else you want to talk about, bring it up now and we can work it in. But I just wanted to shout out how far we've come for opening title sequences in movies. Like the opening title sequence in this, I felt like it was like 30 minutes long. It looked cool, but I was done with it in about
It did feel very long.
5 seconds. Maybe like after the 5th time it drips down the screen or whatever. It was like, I get that in 1990 this was awesome and maybe blew some minds and whatever. But just like when you think of opening title sequences like in Deadpool, for instance, or I don't know. Like, it seems like I'm just glad that we've come a long way in that regard. I don't know if you guys can think of any title sequences you like a lot you want to talk about, but.
Well, I mean, another famously slow title sequence, Alien, written by Dan O'Bannon, who also wrote this movie.
Yeah.
So maybe that's his thing. He writes in the script. He's like,
look,
better be slow.
Better be
slow.
He's like watching it. He's like, we got to slow this down.
Yeah.
We got to slow
Why are you in a hurry?
down.
Maybe it's his way to filter out people that won't be interested. Like, they'll just leave.
It felt to me like in high school when I first discovered like the transitions when I was editing. And I was like, oh, let's do a star transition. And here's the wipe. And it's like every shot does not need a transition, but you could not tell high school Ben that. It's like, no, you guys, these are awesome. Like,
you can't just cut to a new angle. It won't make sense to people.
We gotta let's do a transition. Just like find one thing and just hit it home. So that's kind of what I was thinking about. I was like, oh, they did this one effect over and over and over again. It was great. I just want to give a shout out to seeing early Dean Norris.
Oh,
that was kind of cool to see him in there.
And in the remake, Bryan Cranston's in the remake.
Full circle.
Oh, yeah.
There we are.
So look at that.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's the end of the podcast right there. And legitimately, it could be, unless you guys do have anything else you want to talk about, Matt or Patrick.
No, I mean, I enjoy this movie. I think it's fun. And I feel like it's one that maybe people don't talk about a ton when they talk about, when you think about Schwarzenegger movies in that era, it comes up. But like, I don't know. I just feel like if you like that kind of movie and it's one that you've been sitting on, it's on Netflix. Just go watch it. It's like under 2 hours and it's fun.
And thank God.
It's funny you say that it doesn't get talked about because my girlfriend and I will often play a game where you shout out an actor and the other person has to guess what their 4 movies for the IMDb known for is.
Sure.
And 3 of these make sense. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and Predator. I get it. And I feel like Total Recall would be a great 4th slot here. But unfortunately, that is filled by The Sixth Day from the year 2000, which I don't even know if I've ever heard of before.
Something's wrong with the algorithm.
Yeah, it's great. That's like the best part of this game. It's like,
see, programmers get stuff wrong sometimes, Ben. It happens.
Like Twins, True Lies, so many things could fit in there. It's like, no, I think people really know him for The Sixth Day. Let's make sure that gets in that top 4
as Adam
here.
Gibson, The Sixth Day.
Yeah.
Weird.
That is weird. Well, shit, fellas. I don't know. I think that's all I've got. We've done it. That's another episode in the books. Patrick, thanks for coming on, man. I'm looking forward to the next 2 episodes we do with you. Before this episode, I was like, nope, he's going to be one and done. But now,
one and done. That's it.
But you've earned 2 more spots. But now, man. Congrats.
I'm working my way up to that 5-timers club, so you can bring me on the island.
Boy. Coming in hot.
It's gonna be 3 films and a Patrick. You know, we're gonna have going around. This is great.
Mars Needs Moms.
I love it. Thank you, guys. Mars Needs Moms, and what was the other one? We had another one too.
Oh my god, what was it?
There's lots of stuff I need to see, so you can tell me anything.
I don't remember what the other one was. We'll figure it out. Thank you, guys. This was super fun.
Man, thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Patrick.
If you want to take another moment to promote yourself or whatever, now's your time.
Yeah, sure. If people want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Patrick Cotnoir, PatrickCotnoir. You can watch the George Lucas Talk Show. It's all on YouTube. Hopefully new episodes coming soon. And if you want some fun, see some fun New York improvisers do improv based off of celebrity stories, you can visit Rat Scraps with 4 A's, RAAAATSCRAPS.com. Buy tickets. You can watch it online or come in person next time you're in New York.
Right. Yeah. Movie
awesome.
Club. Do
That's
it.
it.
Get out there. Support the guy, Patrick. Support the future 5-timer, Patrick Cotnoir. We really appreciate it. And we'd also really appreciate if you, like I said earlier, tell your friends about us. 3 Films and a Podcast. They can find us Spotify, YouTube. I don't know, wherever you find podcasts, man. They're easy to find these days. It's at 3 Films Pod. That's how you find us on Twitter, Instagram, all the places. Check out 3filmspod.com. And until then, we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Okay, go ahead, George.
Okay, here's my question. What's Patrick's fucking deal?
Darcy, do you mind if I ask my question now?
Please ask.
Make me full screen. Patrick, what's your fucking deal?